Odisha could be an education hub. There is a huge potential, especially in Odisha, because our whole concept as of today also, parents are still obsessed with the grade points. My mother died when I was 7 years old, and I had a stepmother. So you know that stepmother issue many people have. So I had my stepmother issue, and I blamed my father for that. Constitution should not allow education providers should get into politics. All water bodies should be made encroachment free. River banks and the pond banks should have trees. I'm very candid. Whatever you will ask, I will say. So it's
Please go ahead, because nothing about your childhood is there on the internet.
no, there is nothing.
Nothing. So I want to have this really frank conversation with you, the real side of you. Hi everyone, welcome to TEDucate. I'm your host Anvesha, and this week I have with me a visionary, someone who left his thriving corporate career to build India's most innovative and skill-based university. His journey is all about changing education into empowerment. Let's dive deep into the story of this changemaker and welcome Professor Mukti Kant Mishra, the president of Centurion University of Technology and Management. Hello, sir. Thank you so much for accepting my request and being a part of this podcast. I want to start this podcast by saying that you have always been quite excited whenever you see young people doing something new, especially when it comes to entrepreneurship. So, how does it feel to be on this podcast with a budding entrepreneur from your state, Odisha?
Look, honestly, thank you very much for inviting me. It is really an honor. And I'm not only excited, I'm ecstatic and exalted to be part of this. And because not only, first thing one is broadcast. The other thing is that you being a woman, being a girl, trying to do that, I'm very gender positive. And I always support women entrepreneurship, and at least somebody from Odisha, and that too, the southern part of Odisha you are from, and you are trying to make a name for yourself without going into a job. I know the journey of an entrepreneur, how hard it is, and especially in the domain which you are working is more challenging.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, a lot has been spoken about your corporate life. A lot has been spoken about the university. Of course, we'll get to that. But before that, I want to know more about your childhood. How was your childhood? How was your school? How were your teachers? How was your early education experience, sir?
Anusha, thank you very much for asking them. Normally, most of the interviews we do, nobody asks about that.
Yes.
So we see the person and we presume things that, this kind of, this is somebody who is that, that product. Okay.
Absolutely.
My childhood coming back, like everybody else's, it was rural. There's no connectivity. There's no electricity. We used to have, lights which, kerosene-based lanterns or kind of thing. And but I'm from a well-to-do family. I did see poverty, but my mother died when I was 7 years old. And I had a stepmother. So you know that stepmother issue many people have. So I had my stepmother issue. And so I became notoriously naughty and very destructive, very aggressive, losing the mother at the age of 7. Suddenly from, opulence, you face starvation because your stepmother doesn't treat you. I'm not, that's a system because it's a human beings, so you don't feel cared for. Even if she must be caring, I didn't feel that way. So I was taken to a school which is 12 or 14 kilometers away from my village. And I was the only child in the hostel, and I was not very good in studies. Okay. So I was very bad in studies because you are belligerent. If a class has to start, because that time school used to be very disciplined. Class 9 o'clock to start. Teachers were very good. Okay. So that there was a discipline in our time. School timing was very disciplined. Okay. And it was very controlled, the concept of passing examination copy and all this and that. So I used to practically fail in every class.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Okay.
Till my 11th.
Okay.
So I used to see my name from the bottom. Okay. And one day I was seeing my name from the top. So somebody came and hit me on back. He said that your name is on the number 3 from the bottom.
Oh.
Uh, so that is the time when that you get that enlightenment. So that moment of truth.
Right.
That gave me that moment of truth. Why the hell my name has to be always at the number 3 from the bottom, or number 4, or number 5, or sometimes it's the last name. I did well after that in studies. Okay.
Okay.
So that
That's
is
the story.
and then because I started studying after that. So probably with God's grace, my father is a school teacher, so he was the headmaster of the school. My mother was a smart lady, so I had that in me. It
Okay.
just got a bit what you can rekindled
Got it.
with that smack which you got but that stayed in my head all my life, that somebody told me that you should don't see your name from the top, you see your name from the
Bottom.
bottom.
Right. How was your father, sir? Was he strict? Like my
Oh
father
my
was
God.
very lenient.
And that's that father-son relationship is very complex for everyone. Okay. And there are also rarity, people are, there will be 10% father and son who are very best of the friends. I had, because of my mother died, and I blamed my father for that. So I didn't have a very fabulous or fantastic relationship on that. And my father was very strict. So in our time, it used to be discipline means beat the child. Okay. So my childhood, I have been beaten up almost. And my father also speaks about that very proudly now. Also, I used to beat him every day because my mother died. And I'm very candid. Whatever you will ask, I will say. So, it's
Please,
the.
please go ahead, because nothing about your childhood is there on the internet.
No, there
Nothing
is
about
nothing.
nothing. So I
Nothing.
want to have this really frank conversation with you, the real side of you. So I
Yeah,
want to know your struggle. And
yeah,
most of
but
the people also assume that you come from a very privileged background. So everything has been quite hunky-dory for you, which is not the case at all, because we have had these conversations in the past. So that is why I want to delve into this, that you also had your own share of struggles.
one share of problems. Yeah, but
Right.
yeah, I'm not from a poor family for sure.
Yes.
Okay. We didn't see the poverty type. Okay. We have still a lot of landed property, and we were the richest family in the village. Okay. Let's say that small village, but we were the best in the, so you can presume. But personally, family rich and the person poor. I had, because I kept myself away from the family, I was this, so I suffered quite a bit because I couldn't take it, or I couldn't accept that my mother built the house, she died, and another woman has come into her place.
Okay. Okay.
The stepmother issue, and I could never call my stepmother as Ma.
Okay. Okay.
My mother is my mother.
Yes.
So that stayed with me. It still is, as I feel if my mother would have been alive today, probably I would have been a different person. And my I carry the memory of my mother, even including the day she died. It still is very active in my mind. And also the day my father got married in 6 months' time, that also stays in my head. So both are unacceptable to me. I also don't blame my father to beat me, but I do blame that my mother died. So that's how it is. So you can call family happy and unhappiness, happiness, and problems and prospects. So all are bundle. Okay. So
Right.
there is a vicious cycle, there is a virtuous cycle in my life. Okay. But I used to come to my village once in a while. But when I used to come to village, that house used to always bite me, because the moment you walk in, you can feel your mother dying in that room, kind of thing. And again, also I must tell you that ours was the only house which was built at that time, modern house, with floor with cemented floor, and the walls had painting, and asbestos roof. So that time there was no building concept at that time. So in the village, whatever the best house we had is a massive house. And because we had broken my mother had built that, because my father was working in somewhere else. So my mother built that.
So it was a house, but you never felt like a home
It's
for
not a,
yourself.
yes, yes.
Okay. So you were talking about imaginations. You were also talking about how you were not able to ask those questions to the teachers because you will get beaten up, because of which you felt like running away from your village. Did you feel at times being limited by your surroundings? Like Odisha is quite limited in terms of the resources that you didn't get, or maybe the mindset of the people, or I don't know, educational resources. Did you
No,
feel a
always
lot of young people
I
feel
wish,
quite?
yeah, but I wished my father had put me into in a district school. We used to have Jilla school. Still, we have
Hmm.
Jilla school. So
Yes,
always I wanted
yes.
to be there, and I wanted that.
Mhm.
But by the way, my father was also headmaster of this school.
Yes, yes, you told. Huh.
And then, but my father didn't do that. For which,
Okay.
so I wanted to go to Balasore Jilla school,
Mm-hmm.
which didn't happen. They had hostel because most Jilla schools had a hostel. Or
Mm-hmm.
I knew about Raven Psychology at school. I wanted to, because our education board used to be Cuttack. So I knew there is a city called Cuttack.
Okay, okay,
So,
okay.
and I knew that there is a collegiate school. So I wanted to come. So that way, probably my father should have the why to send, and he's such a naughty child to why to that might be in his mind. I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
but I always wanted to aspire that I should go to a better place. I don't belong to a place where there's no electricity, but Balasore had electricity that time because district
Mm-hmm.
headquarters had probably, I don't know, Jilla school had the hostels had the electricity or not,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't remember. But yes, our village, this school got electricity much after I left that school. All my life, I studied in the lantern and kerosene oil.
Okay, okay. So again, limited environment. Tell me, because there's a lot of pressure on young students about marks or securing the right kind of marks. So why is marks so important?
No, you see, because we have nothing else to do, and especially in Odisha, because our whole concept as of today also, parents are still obsessed with the grade points,
Mm-hmm.
and so my father used to say that, oh, you have to always score first class or whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
that obsession has
Mm-hmm.
been there. I don't have children, but I would have had a child. I would have said, you do everything. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not bothered about a mark. Don't talk to
Right.
me about grade points.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But whole system, how do you quality of a person was directly linked with the quality of mark or quality of pass or whatever you have. If you're third class, you are a third class person. You are a second class, you are a second class person. You are a first class, you are a first class person. So you are identified your academic, you're good human being, bad human being. Schools, nobody today talks that we will talk about responsible citizen or a productive citizen. People say, oh, 30 lakhs salary or 3 crore salary.
Yes.
Everything is quantification.
Yes.
Quality is never part of the, it is Western world, this is bit different.
Mm-hmm.
But here is everything you are known by the grade point. Oh, he's a career first class.
Mm-hmm.
Even just imagine today also people recruit, even Jindal recruits for ITI. They say
Mm-hmm.
career first class. I said that you want a teacher or you want somebody worker. And if
Yeah.
somebody is for career first class, why should he become worker? He will go for education. So
Mm.
something is a problem. It is a mindset problem.
Right.
So
Right.
identify, because how do you measure? They, for them is measurement because we have nothing else. Because
Okay. Sir, you have two master's degree.
Mhm.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You have two
No,
masters.
I have three. You forgotten one.
No, the MBA, I'm talking about the masters.
I have got MA in applied economics.
Ah, yes.
I have got
And
MBA. I have also a master's in public administration.
yes, yes. I was coming to that. Master's degree in economics, public administration, and an MBA degree. And after that, you got a PhD scholarship from Victoria University, Australia. The tenure for the scholarship was 42 months. You completed it in 24 months. My question
Yes,
is,
20
sir,
months. 20 months.
20 months, 20 months. Okay. Then my question is, sir, were you in a hurry to change the world?
I'm always in a hurry to change the world. Always. I want to look, sometimes I dream. If the
Mm-hmm.
universe becomes one country and I become a president of that for one day, what
Mm-hmm.
I will do? First thing I will do, I will demolish all the buildings in the education institutions.
Okay. Okay.
I'll introduce learning by doing,
Mm-hmm.
open learning. For thousands of years, education has not changed.
Absolutely.
I'm a dreamer.
You are a dreamer, but you're also quite action oriented. You
Now,
also put your
yeah, so
dreams.
that when you ask the question, I would say, my dreams all do not go away. It gets reformed.
Yes.
So
Mm-hmm.
because if I dream big, then I say, so no, this dream is not right. I rationalize the dream.
You left a thriving corporate career.
Mhm.
Just to name the places, Hindustan Petroleum Corporate Limited, the Industrial Development Corporation of Orissa. At that time, it was Orissa, and now it's Odisha. And of course,
Hindustan Petroleum Corporation of India, HPCL.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's the first one.
Then, yeah,
And then the Industrial Development Corporation of
Corporation
Orissa.
of Odisha. Yes, it
Yes,
called. But I
yes,
was on secondment there. I was not an employee. I
yes.
was borrowed from HPCL.
True,
Hmm.
true. And then Kinhill Engineers Private Limited.
No, no, in between BHP, Kinhill Engineers, that part of the BHP, then
Okay,
it goes, then again back to Kinhill Engineers.
okay, okay. So
Okay.
in total, 18 years of corporate career,
85, yeah, more or less.
more or less.
Yeah, more or
More
less.
or less.
But I continued with working corporate till 2007, 8. I was a consultant. Yeah, so yeah.
Okay, okay.
So almost 2007. Yeah, 20 years, you can say.
20 years. So 20 years of excellent corporate journey.
Hmm. With a lot
Then
of money.
one fine day, you decide to build, or rather, I would say transform a failed engineering college into India's most innovative and a skill-focused university, which is the Centurion University of Technology and Management. How did it happen?
Look, that takes me back to your question that, 3 masters, a PhD, I completed that. See,
Hmm.
when I was doing my PhD, I traveled all over the world. Education system was bothering me because when I was doing my PhD, I said that, everybody, every university are all same
Hmm. Hmm.
wherever you go.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
All corporates are all same because wherever you go, I went to World Bank, I went to IMF, wherever I went, and I'm talking about even their corporates. Okay, the corporations are World Bank. They're, they call multinational bodies, but they're also in a way is a corporate.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And the stock market intrigued me. What is that in stock market? Why people invest, and what is that a company does? Their price is today $400, tomorrow becomes $800, or whatever the stock price becomes. Why? Because there is no value creation. It all intrigued me.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So I got disillusioned with the education system,
Okay.
and I got disillusioned to corporate world.
Hmm.
So I thought that, okay, but even though I was disillusioned, I started teaching way back in 2000 when I decided to go into PhD. My teaching started in Australia, and I never taught in undergraduate program. Always I taught in postgraduate program.
Okay. Okay.
And because of that, I taught in 10 countries. I used to travel a lot till 2012, 13. I used to go to various countries to teach on behalf of Australian universities, but that continued. But
Nice.
I was always disillusioned. I had a lot of problems with the vice chancellors of my Australian universities.
Okay.
I wanted to change the education.
Hmm.
The foundation and fundamental was that suppose you are running an engineering college or a business school.
Hmm.
How can you run a business school without running a business successfully? Most of the teachers who are teaching into the business school did not have any business experience.
Okay. Okay.
Most of the people who are teaching into the engineering programs didn't have any engineering practical other than getting that degree with the first division or PhD or whatever.
Hmm.
Okay, so my PhD, I wanted to meet as many people as possible. That's why I started teaching it. So I was in a hurry,
Hmm.
and I was in a hurry to realize, understand, introspect, and internalize what is happening in the world, in corporate world and education.
Hmm.
And then I came back to India. So you don't have credibility. You are from corporate world,
Yeah.
and you want to change the world. How? That always it was my mind
Hmm.
that if you are talking that to change the world,
Hmm.
how do you do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yes, I had the arrogance of youth,
Hmm.
and I had also the dream that which I will do something different. So fortunately, my wife also agreed that we will not have any children, we will not own any property, we
Hmm.
will die stringless. So
Hmm.
that gave me a lot of freedom. The fundamental is that you change yourself. Because I used to say everybody is getting married. The moment they get married, the next is that have a child. The moment they have a child, education of the child. Then in one child is a problem. Let us have second child. Then two child is a problem. Have a third child. So we become a child producing equipment.
Hmm.
Okay. Then your wife takes care of the child. So she, even though she is a professional, she sacrifices all these things. That also used to intrigue me. My mother if I would not have been born, my mother would have been a politician. She was that time also into politics.
Okay.
That time, and Nandin Satpathy was the chief minister, and she knew my mother by person, and she was representing. That time it was called Mahila Samiti or something. She used to go to block office for having meeting, and she used to take me in a rickshaw, putting me her on her lap. I used to go. Okay, it's a 7 kilometer to say. So I knew that my mother was very respected, and she used to go. Officers were respecting her. She was very young. My mother died when my mother got married when she was 13 years old. I was born when she was 14 years old, and she died when she was 20 years old.
Mm.
So and there will be many women like her. It's not something. There will be probably some women would have been married that time by 12 or 11. I don't know. And because this is a well-to-do family, probably 13, 14.
Yeah.
And my father, who had completed his graduation, there must be she was in class 7. She never completed her metric, but she was a very bright woman.
Mm.
Okay. So if I would not have been born, then my mother would have been someone else. She would have been better than my father. Okay, so that always was in my mind. Okay, so now coming back to this, so I thought that I joined XIM. There also I was disillusioned because and I said that why should Catholic Church, the fathers who have no business experience, should run the institute?
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so nobody likes this kind of thing. So
That would have been quite controversial,
yeah,
I'm
very
sure.
good. I was, of course. And then because that year we had very bad placement in exam. So I was hired. And then suddenly next year when I was handling placement, never after that, they have never such a good placement because I created 1:3 jobs.
Okay.
I
Okay.
got many new companies, and because I believed in this institute, is in Odisha based, where there are people from everywhere, and I am from the marketing background, so I could market the product which exam. But then I wanted the exam to become a university, exam to private, have set up a company which will do consulting service in Africa or somewhere else. Okay. But they were not. I said that unless until a business school runs a business successfully, how can you? That was the always hunting me. Education institutions must do things what they teach.
Right. Right. Such a
You
nice
have to
choice.
walk the talk and
Yeah.
talk the walk.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
if you ask me, that was the bottom line.
Hmm.
That education institutions always intrigued me. How
Hmm.
defunct, how
Hmm.
comatose, how
Hmm.
oxygen deprived these are.
Okay. So from how did the vision of Centurion take place? Where
So
did the seed
Centurion
come
vision was
from?
always there. Centurion
Centurion
vision was
was
always there,
always
but
there.
I didn't have an outlet. So the other trustee, Professor D.N. Rao, so he
Mm-hmm.
knew this institute which is dying and dead. So they approached us. But that time I had decided not to own anything. So we said that okay, let us take on a management contract and try to change the institute. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was also full-time teaching in Australia because for my livelihood. Okay.
Okay.
I
Okay.
used to travel to Australia 6 months a year.
Mm-hmm.
And the promoters of this institute, whenever we took over and it started doing well, they used to take all the money and buy property, like many other education institutions.
Okay. Okay.
So we had two choices: either quit,
Hmm.
and they would not pay to teachers, and they will not be innovative. So we started a small management institute there
Hmm.
in Chamundi called for rural management. Okay.
Okay.
And DN Rao knew that place well. So I thought that, okay, so I got a grant. I knew there is a scheme. I got a grant. That time, which 1 crore was a big grant. So we
Mm-hmm.
got a grant. We started a business linked kind of courses on that. Okay. So
Okay.
on the rural sector. Okay.
Okay.
But the challenge was
Hmm.
that standalone institute
Mm-hmm.
at this engineering college, they were intertwined.
Acha. Okay. Okay. Okay.
So then these people, because they didn't pay, and so they thought there were a lot of challenges with them, and so what to do, how to take over? Because NPA, that institute was becoming NPA,
Okay. Okay.
so
Okay.
that will shut down. So we had only choice to arrange money to
Mm-hmm.
take over the institute.
Hmm.
So I flew down from Australia and met the chairman of a bank. That is the
Okay.
time. Two persons who helped me is Mr. Satyanand Mishra,
Mm-hmm.
also Mr. Rajiv Sau, because because I don't have credit history, and we needed 7.5 crores. I must tell you the story when I met the bank chairman, Mr.
Mm-hmm.
Puthi. I will not forget that the head office is in Connaught Place. I straight came. My wife dropped me at the airport in Melbourne. I
Mm-hmm.
came from the class. I came from the class and went back to the class. Also from India to their class because I had teaching. It's a full-time teaching was going on.
Okay. Okay.
So I met Prithviraj ji on Saturday
Mm-hmm.
because banks used to work also on Saturdays. So I
Right.
told him, sir, I need 7.5 crores loan,
Mm-hmm.
no collateral, lowest rate of interest, longest tenure of time, and
Okay.
I don't have any credit history. And you have to trust my gut feeling, and you have to give me this loan.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he looked at me like this. He said that never in my life any person has come to me and demanding loan and without collateral. Okay. And
Wow.
so, and longest tenure, and you don't have any credit history.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a no. Of course, no. How can you? So, and he said that it's not possible. I said that, and I need this loan in next 4 days to 5 days time. It was
Mm-hmm.
22nd or 23rd of March. So we have to close because that property would have become NPA authorized.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay.
So that story is short, and finally it happened. The loan happened because see, the loan was given, and my house was mortgaged for that.
Okay.
So because always and because unless you put your house, who will of course personal guarantee. So 2007. So when we took over, immediately after that, I said that we should to do this. I realized that you cannot do in India unless until you are an autonomous institution or you are a university.
Mm-hmm.
That is the time I drafted the first proposal to become a skill university. I used to call it Workman University.
Okay.
And many times my proposal has been thrown to dustbin, and my proposal has been copied also.
Okay. Okay.
The DPR, what do you call it, DPR? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the time when Odisha government was with the BJP partnership, but then they fell apart. The education portfolio was with BJP.
Okay.
So the
Okay.
education minister, Samit Dev, when I met him, he said that this is Workman University. What is this? You cannot, because that time there was no concept of an affiliated college, private college becoming university, because for a university, you sign an MOU and you can be enacted as a private university. So that time, only thing which was going on is Vedanta. Fortunately, then the government changed. 2009, they broke apart. So BJD government came back to power. So I again resurrected, revisited, and renewed my interest of getting this Workman University into action.
Action. Okay.
By then, Sri Sri Ravi Shankar University was also, the government had given them land, and they were also talking, setting up the university, and they are passing an act. But these are all standalone MOU-based new universities. Okay. But in 2007, when we took it, between 2007 and 2009, we had already started taking land from IDCO to set up another engineering college in Bhubaneswar, which was an affiliated college of BPUT.
Okay. So the first campus was in Palakhemandi.
Yes.
And the second campus was in Bhubaneswar.
Bhubaneswar, but simultaneously, I also applied for land. We started +2 colleges and schools in Balangir and Raigada. Not as university program, but as a school and thing. But Parlakhundi also way back in 2006. Sapna was taken to Parlakhundi. We started a school in a rented place up to class 5. Class 5? We started up to class 5 for our own young faculty who were coming for them to go to the school because there no English medium school there. So we had tried little bit of that time. And so, but for organized school, first we thought of applying to IDCO, getting land, because that time IDCO land was not very difficult because in Balangir, Raigada, no industry was coming up. And in the industrial policy, education was also an ancillary service. So industrial education institutions can get industrial land paying 1.50% more. Like industry gets, suppose 1 rupee, you get 1.5.
Okay.
So then I went to Government of Odisha. So they saw this Workman University. Everybody laughed at me. Okay. So I said that then I will put a skill university.
Okay.
Actually, I said competency university. Then that also they further laughed. So I said skill. So finally I gave up. I said that, okay, let me become a university having a school of vocational education and training as part of the university and providing as the common service provider to all schools. So what NEP is talking now, I thought about in 2009 when I resubmitted my proposal that you have a shared school. It is called a shared school. Everybody shares their school. So you have a theory part in the respective school, the personalization of that education and training part comes from a school which owns this school or owns the service. Okay. So my original act is the only university probably in the world which started with a school of vocational education and training. Then going to a tribal area, and the tribal area university also the story is that there was an Naxal issue there.
That was
And
my next question because
yeah, so Naxal issue,
hmm,
which was, and that time it was for everybody, it was a legal issue. For me, it was a social issue.
right, right.
So there was no fear of losing something. So people used to adopt or get adapted
Hmm,
to be, destructive. Okay.
hmm,
So I thought that if you put something into their head of losing something, their
hmm,
fear of losing something,
hmm.
then they will give up picking up the arm or picking up the gun. Okay.
That
So
constant fear was always there when it came to, okay, okay.
so
Any such incident that happened during that time, sir?
no, because that time we got notice that you can't have this, you can't allow police. So that time, but now I wanted to fear in their mind that if they get the skill,
Hmm,
they will why to go for, because they know that anytime you can be killed. Everybody knows that. You know that when you are fighting, it can either way. You can kill or get killed.
hmm.
So if you say there is an alternative path, which is, you build, because they have nothing else. What had happened? You had taken away their forest. There was no forest. You are taken away all the birds or anything because of the mobile tower, all the, what was the source of income?
Hmm.
You know, Modernity or modernization had actually affected them very badly.
We were talking about like skill-based activities. Would you like to share a few innovative practices that takes place at your university? I was reading a lot of articles, like some innovative practices that takes place in your university
Yeah. So
that
like,
you would like to
we
share with
produce
the audience.
10,000 transformers in a year, power
Okay.
transformers, including your village. Also the transformer which will be there, it will be manufactured in Centurion.
Mm.
So it's a part of school of our engineering, school
Mm.
ITI,
Mm.
diploma, degree, or short term, doesn't matter.
Mm.
From class 0 to PhD, everybody can be trained in that lab. But it's a lab, it's a learning lab. But it
Mm.
in real time produces 10,000 transformers a year. We produce, like whatever I'm wearing today is all made in Centurion.
Oh.
I mostly wear what is made in Centurion.
So we're talking about livelihood. We are talking about employability. Tell me how Centurion is actually preparing students to be industry ready. Like we were also talking about like whatever might be the case, placements they come, we talk about packages, we talk about marks. So you tell me how Centurion is actually preparing students to be industry ready.
Actually, look, you are asking a very pertinent but a difficult question. Is the university
Mm-hmm.
is ready with ecosystem which can build students?
Hmm.
Even if university doesn't anything, the ecosystem should build it.
Right, right.
So I have, if you come and see, for example, I will give you, suppose botany and zoology students. Let us take the example of that.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
Forget about engineers. Okay. Engineers will do that. Botany, zoology students, either they become teachers
Hmm.
or very rare corporate jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard that botany, zoology students also can become entrepreneurs?
Mm-hmm. Huh.
Okay. So we want, that's what very clear to me.
Mm-hmm.
Forget about employment.
Mm-hmm.
I should enable them
Mm-hmm.
to make employable
Mm-hmm.
in such a way that they can go for employment, they can become entrepreneur, they can set up an enterprise, they can also believe in entrepreneurship. Everybody, look, if you want a job, anybody can get a job. But
Mm-hmm.
are you doing that job the way it should be done? So, for example, let us take the zoology botany.
Mm-hmm.
If you come, we have a pollinator's paradise.
Okay. Okay.
So, do you know
Mm.
most of the institutions in the country which runs this applied science or the core science, which was zoology, botany,
Mm-hmm.
today, the
Mm-hmm.
biggest problem, if you do the net search,
Mm.
death of bees, honeybees.
Honeybees. Okay. Okay.
They
Mm.
are the best pollinator on the soil
Mm-hmm.
we have.
Yeah.
Okay, there are other pollinators, so but they are the best pollinators. So your fruits and vegetable, the production is coming down because the bees per se are dying down because of the pesticide use, because of mobile, because pesticide bees can't handle.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so when this kind of things happen,
Mm-hmm.
so what are you teaching them? You are teaching them beekeeping, and when there's no bee.
Mm.
Okay, botany zoology students are taught beekeeping, but without any bees.
Okay.
Botany students are taught what are the flowers and grass and things are required for bees without having any bees. So this pollinators paradise which we have, we breed everything. We breed bees.
Oh, okay.
So, and we distribute bee boxes. We breed butterflies because that's what they will learn. We breed fish. We breed guinea pigs. We breed birds. We breed turtles. We breed chicken.
Wow.
Desi chicken. I'm talking about desi chicken. I'm not talking about, don't compete with, and our fundamental is don't compete with the big industrial house. How you become an entrepreneur with the local requirement, with the local resource, for the local consumption, and you make enough money staying in your house.
This is a really nice concept, sir, which actually brings me to the next question, which is we were talking about AI. We were also talking about the disadvantages of AI, especially when it comes to entrepreneurship. What are those skills that each and every young student need to have in order to thrive for the next 10 years? Because like we were talking about critical thinking, we were talking about these soft skills, which are extremely important. AI can't take over that.
Look, you are again asking a very difficult, pertinent and a very difficult question. You know, I know people are obsessed with AI. Okay. And technology should be the enabler, not the replacer. Okay. What you will do with 8 billion people? We are going to touch 8 billion soon.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we are all talking about the future, which is unknown. So how can you be prepared for what will be AI in next 10 years' time? AI may completely take over us, and including our sleep and everything. AI, I don't know. And I'm not an expert in that. I don't understand that. I understand nature. I understand what my world needs. I want to leave the universe better than what I have inherited from my, past generation.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So am I a responsible citizen that whatever I'm consuming, I'm giving back more to the society? Number one. Number two, am I using technology to improve that giving back? What is the plan of digital waste?
Yes. Yes.
Every university should be conscious of that.
Yes.
We are talking about a product creation. We are not using about the handling the waste. Okay. But what happens with that? We have so much of now solar panels. There was a craziness for solar panels. In 5 years' time, you will have millions of solar panels which are all carcinogenic. How do you handle those? You will throw somewhere, that will go into the groundwater. It will pollute the groundwater. It will go to the river water. It will go to the sea water. The entire sea is polluted with plastics now. Every food which you and I eat has got plastic what particles in that. The air has got plastic particles in that.
Yes.
So where is that consciousness? Waste management. Is there any course you have heard that every course in every university, every school should have how to handle waste neutral? How are you waste neutral? In Centurion, not a single drop of water goes to the municipality drain. We consume back an entire wastewaters. 10 in Bhubaneswar campus, we have 10 lakhs. In Parla Community campus, we have 10 lakhs. We consume back the entire water. All our food waste, we consume back. We convert it to manures and we use. All our paper waste, we consume back.
Wow.
We are consumer of our own waste.
Odisha and also overall in India, youngsters are quite obsessed with careers with respect to engineering or medical science. Is it still the case in Odisha, or they're focusing on other careers? Or what are the other careers that they need to focus on and they're not thinking, like entrepreneurship? We discussed, but there are very limited number of entrepreneurs.
So still we are very obsessed with the doctor, engineer kind of thing. But yes, some people are trying to become entrepreneur, and there are successful Odia entrepreneurs. Now, and forget about mining. Mining is not enterprise. I say that you're stealing the mother earth. I'm very clear on that. There's nothing. Okay. But real-time value creation, sustainably creating value. And also prawn cultivation, I think, is a more destructive. So, so that I'm not saying that. Whether any agri-based product, whether this now There are many entrepreneurs, like two entrepreneurs from Burla Engineering College now, the university, they have started doing drone. There are things people are doing, growing mango, exporting to overseas. There are a lot of entrepreneurs coming out.
Okay.
But
Okay.
like forever, it's a forensic
Hmm.
course, as a course.
Oh,
Forensic
okay.
now, every police station in the country need it. There is only one forensic university, and thanks to Prime Minister Modi that he envisioned about this when he was Chief Minister of Gujarat.
Okay. Okay.
And the second institute in the country was Centurion. I didn't know Gujarat has a forensic university when I started a forensic course.
Okay.
But then Bijay Sharma, as IPS officer, he told me that Gujarat has already, and so my students used to go to Gujarat at that time. My teachers used to go to Gujarat. We have a partnership with them for long years. Now, of course, they're setting up a campus in India.
Hmm.
They have now become a national institute. They're setting up every. So I'm talking, this is a massive career there.
Hmm. Hmm.
Every police station will have one, and then there will be central forensic labs.
Hmm. Hmm.
But no ODI student is thinking about those. I'm just giving
Yeah,
an example.
they're not aware. That is why I asked you this question.
Allied health course,
Hmm.
professional certificate for allied health professional was issued by Odisha government the first, because Dr. Meherda was secretary. He is a medico. He understood,
Hmm.
and we designed, and the Odisha was the first state which national national act on allied health came in 2020, but Odisha has been having that from 2015.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So, we have 4 years course, we have 3 years course, we have 2 years course, 1 year course, and also 6 months course. That is another opportunity which is the in health sector.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay. And like fisheries, we are the only second or first private fisheries college in the state.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. It's accredited also. So in government college, accredited, we are accredited. There are not
Hmm.
many fisheries college. See, fisheries is a big course.
Yes.
And Odisha is a fish eating place, as you know. Bengal is a fish eating place. People are doing fishery, but without any background on that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Fisheries is something which you do. We have started now drone manufacturing. We are doing so agri drone. I'm not talking about the defense drone, because there are many players in defense drone.
Hmm.
Agri drone, how to miniaturize the agri drone so that farmers, it's very difficult to get now labor to go and to plowing tractor can do.
Hmm.
Even also planting do,
Hmm.
but harvesting can be done. But fertilizer, so it has to be drone based now.
Right.
But we have
Right.
to hire the service. So drone training, so people can become just drone operator, which we have that RPTO, remote pilot training organization. So we have Ministry of Civil Aviation. So government also has been very proactive in creating alternative models for
Hmm.
you to
Hmm.
adopt and adapt.
Wow. Wow. So we were talking about partnerships. You mentioned how you have a partnership with a university based in Gujarat. You also have partnerships, like Centurion has a partnership with global universities. So how does the collaboration of like international partnerships help in the growth model?
Listen, because we don't have, like for example, School of Maritime Studies. When you come
Hmm.
to see, that's a very internationalized school. It's a
Hmm.
global standard.
Hmm. Hmm.
I don't have a competency. How do I create that? Even if I create that, I can't run it. So I
Yeah.
have a professional who is a partner there.
Hmm. Hmm.
The London-based organization. He's ODI, but he lived in London all his life. He owns ships. So
Hmm.
he has invested 30 crores in that
Hmm. Hmm.
for aviation course. I'm not an expert in that.
Right. Right.
So Captain Sandeep Mishra, he's a commercial pilot. So
Yes.
it's joint investment.
Hmm.
So
So what are the global partnerships that your university has
Australian
done?
universities
Alone.
mostly.
Okay. Okay.
And we have like partners who are coming and running. We have most, because my background or my being Australia, I
Hmm.
don't try to spread too thin. I try to see who are the best in that. And
Hmm.
suppose then you have partnership with also the AWS. We have a
Yeah.
partnership, but
Okay.
many universities there. But we have with Dassault system with Rafael company, which is that we have a partnership with them.
Okay, sir, because you have done so much for Odisha and you still dream about bringing so much of change in the state, what is the vision for the future of higher education in Odisha, especially in the next 10 years that you have? Like you've done so much, but still,
Now
what are
look,
those dreams that you
yeah,
have?
look, I can tell you, look, I know that you have that question, but you know what happens? The issue is
Hmm.
NEP is a good document. It's a Magna Carta. It's a good document and a
Hmm.
good policy. It's a good initiative. It is a great, paradigm shift.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
it is a real paradigm shift. Let
Hmm.
us admit.
Hmm.
I'm not saying to please the government about it, but I'm very pleased with the way it has been, presented.
Mhm.
Odisha, the major problem is that there is a severe barrier
Mhm.
because of the mindset, government and private.
Right.
Private
Absolutely.
is pungent and pervert, government is good and great. This perception continues. You know, the maximum copy happening in B.Ed course, which they don't allow private institutions to teachers training, where the courses are delivered in the government colleges. Is the
Yes.
government colleges and universities are capable to do that? No. But
Mm.
just because they're government college, they're asked to deliver.
Yes.
So this kind of barrier is the biggest problem which we have. Okay, in
Right.
next 10 years, if you want to ask me, suppose I have this say. First
Mhm.
thing I say, remove these barriers. Let there the competency. So some people are saying that private colleges will take all the money. Then you create, say that okay, 50% will go to government or 70%, only 25 is available. You bring it, you can't just say that okay, my finger is bit paining, let me cut it out.
Mhm.
Second, we are not building teachers, we are recruiting teachers.
Mm.
So who is where, you say that then only college, suppose for school teachers, only college where I will give mark 100 out of 100 or whatever, grade A plus is Radhanath Studying College for B.Ed.
Okay. Okay.
So are we, and because that pride to bring in, I want to be a teacher, is there? Is it there? No. Go to
Mm.
any school, go to any college, ask in the class, who wants to be a teacher? But everybody wants their children to be taught by a good teacher. On priority, I hope they will wake up into this case, the situation, and they will remove this barrier between private and government.
Nicely
They
put. Yeah.
spend a lot of money. They spend a lot of money. But I'm
Mhm.
saying that try the other method.
Mm. Okay. This actually brings me to the last question, sir, but a very pertinent one because you're also from Odisha. I'm also from Odisha. What do you want the rest of India or the world to understand about Odisha's potential and people?
One thing is Odisha is one of the most
Ve-
untold and secret, or the what is best kept secret for sure. What they're
Yes,
saying is right. We
yes.
have over 600 kilometers of coastline. Odisha, if one thing which is a very peaceful state.
Hmm.
It's a very peace-loving state. Okay.
Mhm.
And Odisha, I will not get into mineral resources because that doesn't belong to anybody because generation, that's the generational thing. We should exploit as much as we should because we should leave something for our posterity. There should be
Absolutely.
responsible use of mineral resources. I don't know whether it is happening or not. I will not be able to comment on that.
Mhm.
Okay. But unfortunately, you see, nobody is talking about setting up a foreign university in Odisha. Why? So we have to, because we have everything, but we have nothing.
Mhm. That is
How?
why I asked you this question because a lot of foreign universities are coming to India. They're talking about other states, but Odisha is never mentioned.
No, because Odisha, unfortunately, what has happened, there is a hero worship, and there are some universities which and there should be also at some point, I think constitution should not allow education providers should get into politics. If
Mm.
I'm into education, I should not be get into politics. Okay. And there has
Mhm.
to be a clear division. Like, if how can, if I'm an active education provider, how
Mhm.
can I get into as a member of parliament, I have a lot of access to the regulatory bodies which regulates me.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
you become a regulator of regulators.
Yes, yes.
So there is a confluence of interest. And Odisha could be an education hub. There is a huge potential, especially on marine,
Mhm.
mining,
Mhm.
okay,
Mhm.
agriculture,
Mhm.
which is not happened yet. Odisha, peaceful state.
Mhm.
Odisha is a beautiful state, but
Mhm.
Odisha has to do a lot more to contain the climatic change which we have.
Mhm. Mhm.
This roadside plantation and counting that as a tree is not what we should be thinking of.
True, true.
And should be a national policy. Do not count roadside planting
Mhm. Mhm.
because one day or the other it will be all removed.
True, true.
So nobody will talk in those because see, yesterday I saw, not yesterday, 2 weeks before I saw 110 years old banyan tree in Palaspalli has been cut down because of road expansion. But my problem is not cutting down just trees for things, but the shade. But there are millions of birds living in that thing. Where have they gone? I don't know. And they are the pollinators.
Absolutely. So, though this was supposed to be the last question, But the interaction is so engaging. So I'm going to ask you because obviously weather and climate has been one of like biggest problems of the state.
Yeah, yeah.
So would you like to recommend some solutions?
I will recommend, because as I said that, Odisha should have a policy. They should create a mission mode, like they have Mission Shakti. They
Mm-hmm.
should have Mission Clean Green Odisha or Mission Sustainable Odisha.
Mm-hmm.
All water bodies should be made encroachment free. You know that most of the Bhubaneswar had 160 water bodies. All are gone. We have, and I'm not saying from the theory. I have the drone survey of 49 water bodies and encroached and silted. But there is Supreme Court. This is a part of the Constitution. Water bodies cannot be encroached. That cannot be allotted like to somebody. You cannot touch water body.
Mm-hmm.
These are all millions of years of water bodies,
Yes, yes.
and then all the rivers are silted.
Mm-hmm.
So the water is dying from the river. Okay, and that's what river banks
Mm-hmm.
and the pond banks should
Mm-hmm.
have trees, and we should plant all long sustaining climate resilient or cyclone resilient. There are many trees like that.
Okay, okay.
So that should, because temperature Odisha has to come down by 5 degrees.
This actually brings us to the end of the episode. Just I have one very interesting segment as the end of the episode, which is the rapid fire round. I'll ask you these simple,
Yeah.
very simple questions, and you have to come up with a response immediately, just 5 minutes more. So here goes the rapid fire round, sir, for you.
Yeah.
One word that defines your leadership style. You are known for your leadership. You are known as the Rancho of Odisha. A lot of qualities have been attributed to you. One word.
Empathy, trust, hope, and faith.
Okay, okay. A book that changed your life. Is there any particular book that
No,
you talk
no,
on?
no.
No, no.
I
Okay,
read many books and I take whatever is the best. No, no, not a particular book.
okay, okay. Sir, if not in the education sector, what would you be doing today? If
I'll
not
be a
in
farmer.
education,
I'll be a farmer
farmer. Okay.
and connecting to nature.
Sir, one thing young people should stop worrying about.
For tomorrow.
Live your life today. Got it.
Not only just do what is available today. You would focus on that.
Focus on.
AI will come, take the job, this will come, that will come. I will get a good girl to marry or bad girl. Don't worry. Just do what is the best today.
Okay, okay. A favorite place in Odisha?
Favorite place in Odisha?
Mm-hmm.
My favorite place in Odisha is my own village still.
Your village. Okay. Best advice you have ever received?
But I have not listened to that.
That's okay. But still, if you feel
I have best advice. I have listened to
one
that.
advice that you have listened in your life.
Actually, I don't listen to any advice. I just experiment whatever comes to mind. That's the problem. But yeah, one advice was that don't spread yourself too thin, which I have done. I spread myself too thin.
Oh, okay, okay. One myth about rural education.
One myth.
Myth. Huh.
That yeah, but that's normally that rural kids lack communication skill.
Hmm. They don't.
Yeah, that's the myth, that it's not, because you don't provide that. So you say that they lack. No, they don't, because the ecosystem. I'm a rural kid. I'm I'm obsessive. I can be graded as obsessively communicative.
Yes. And also communication is not just language. We're talking
Nah,
about
it's not.
language. Yes.
Yes, yeah. So
Right, right. Okay, sir. In one line, what does Centurion University mean to you?
it's my love, my romance, my hope, my faith, my trust, and my life.
Okay, okay. So
And
that's
my love, my laugh. Yeah. So
your baby it is.
it's baby, I will not love this much.
No?
Babies, they fly away. But Centurion is a creation, it actually, because babies are selfish, but institutions are not.
Mhm. So this brings us to the end of the episode, sir. But because you are Odia, I'm Odia. If you had to promote this channel in Odia, like, share, subscribe, what you would say? जदि आपनको ए कंटेंट भल लगे तेबे लाइक करंतु,
মানে সেটা তো ମୁଁ କହିଲି but no no I think what ମାନେ ମୁଁ ଏଟାକୁ ଆମର ଯୋଉ ଷ୍ଟୁଡେଣ୍ଟ ମାନଙ୍କୁ ବି ପପୁଲେଟ କରିବାକୁ ପଡିବ ଆଉ ୟଙ୍ଗ ଜେନେରେସନ କୁ and I think you are in right track, you are talking to people who matter and so you are trying to be relevant, you are trying to be appropriate to the segment which you are trying to connect.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. Until next week, this is your host, Anvesha Brahma, signing off from TEDucate, where we decode education, careers, and everything in between. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today. Thank you.
You.